Hello everyone, welcome to my spoiler talk for the Avengers. Let's hope I can do justice to this thing with this spoiler talk. Probably not, but we're just gonna give it a shot anyway. So this movie starts off with the Other, as he is called, talking about the fact that the Chitauri are gonna be invading the Earth once Loki opens the portal. Basically, that's what he means, and the Tesseract has been activated. Look, this little part, kind of forgot about it. I'm gonna apologize for that one. Anyway, the Tesseract is in S.H.I.E.L.D.'s hands, as we saw at the end of Thor. And they're basically testing it. We later learn why, but not yet. But they're basically running tests on it. We have Eric Selvig back from the Thor movie doing the tests. Hawkeye is up yonder being a hawk, I guess. Nick Fury's like, I told you to keep an eye on this. He's like, I see better from afar. But the Tesseract is kind of behaving like a bit of a bad gal. So we don't like that. We don't like bad girls around here. However, Hawkeye comes up with the idea that it's like, look, this is kind of like a doorway, right? So a door can open from both sides, right? Maybe someone's knocking on the other side. And it turns out to be true because the portal opens up and Loki appears out of it. He attacks the agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., mind controls Hawkeye and Eric Selvig, and then leaves. Nick Fury is actually trying to leave. It's like, no. Give me that one. And Hawkeye just shoots Nick Fury. However, it's bulletproof, so that's good. It's a good thing Hawkeye didn't aim for the head. That's a good one. Nick Fury should have said that. You should have aimed for the head. So Loki and Hawkeye and Eric, they leave. They try to leave all stealth-like, incognito-like. However, then Fury he gets up. He tells Maria Hill, like, Barton's been compromised. So Maria Hill instantly goes to shoot him. However, they drive away, and then we have this chase that happens for the Tesseract. However, the portal that Loki came through is also now going to explode. So we need to evacuate the building and get everyone out. So Coulson is with a couple of S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, and because of a rumble, an earthquake, I guess, they drop a couple of stuff, and the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents want to pick it up. Coulson's like, no, leave it. Let's go. So they all leave, get out of there alive. Maria Hill tries to stop Loki. It doesn't really work. So she gets trapped under the rubble, and then we have Fury who shoots at the truck, but also to no avail. So Loki escapes with the Tesseract and Hawkeye and also Eric. So sadly enough, the bad guy now has the Tesseract. And then the movie credits happen, because now we need the Avengers. Also, the whole thing about the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents and Maria Hill being trapped on the rubble, it's like resolved off screen, which I found to be a weird thing. Because like the next time you see them, it's on the helicarrier, and it's like, hey, so how did you get out of that? Whatever. You probably just got out of it by just, probably with a lot of help. So, we go to Black Widow, who is somewhere. Forgot the location. Didn't write that down. And she's being interrogated, kind of. But also she's doing the interrogating to him and stuff like that. But then Coulson calls one of the henchmen. And then, the henchman gives the phone to the boss. The boss is like, what is it? It's like, it's for you. So he gives the phone to Black Widow, and she's like, look, I'm interrogating this guy, alright? He's about to tell me everything. Yeah, but Barton's been compromised, and then she immediately gets into battle mode. Kind of feels like they're trying to set up a romance between Black Widow and Hawkeye, which, as we all know, ain't gonna work, but immediately in the next movie, they set her up with Hulk, so it's, I don't know, I felt that a bit weird. But Black Widow takes care of everyone, and then she's like, she gets told by Coulson that she needs to go after the big guy. So she's like, yeah, Stark ain't gonna let me. And then he's like, no. I mean Hulk. I'm going after Stark. So Coulson, so we have Tony Stark underwater doing some repairs to because he's gonna get clean energy, important for the movie. But also, it's not just a plot point for the movie. It's also a continuation of what he did what he said he would do at the end of Iron Man. So he finally got self-sustaining energy as a start. Testing it out with his own stuff before giving it, I guess, to the rest of New York, which will happen, I guess, after this movie. So he gets underwater, he fixes that stuff, goes out of the water and flies back, and then the Stark Tower lights up. He gets into his house, and he has a talk about the fact that this all came from Pepper Potts, and he's like, you should have some of the credit. And then he offers her 12%, and she's like, 12 of my baby? We can make an argument for 15, because I did do all the heavy lifting. However, now Coulson calls him, and doesn't work. However, Coulson overrides his protocols, which, how is S.H.I.E.L.D. able to do that? Stark's tech is way more advanced than that, so it's kind of weird. Anyway, he arrives, and then we have Pepper Potts going, Phil! And it's like, Phil? His first name is Agent. And then he gets handed the Avengers initiative and all that stuff, and he talks about that. And then he kind of wants to brush it off aside. However, Pepper Potts promises him something very, very, very sexual if he keeps this up. And my guess, it involves some butt stuff. I don't know. Just a guess. They didn't say what it was. I just have to assume. Because that door is usually kind of closed and only opens for special occasions. So he agrees to help. Meanwhile, in the middle of nowhere, which I don't remember the locations where we are. Anyway, in the middle of nowhere, we have this little girl who is running towards a building. And she gets in the building, goes up the stairs, and we see Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk. And she's like, please help me. My dad's in trouble. Or, well, he's sick. My dad's sick. And then Bruce is like, sick like them? And she's like, yeah. So Bruce goes to help. However, the little girl then jumps out the window. Also, it is kind of funny because while they're running home, you have like a military jeep that drives by, and Bruce just puts his hand on the little girl's shoulders and turns away from the cops. And it's like, is that really inconspicuous? That seems more suspicious. Let's be honest, dude. That is a lot more suspicious than whatever. Anyway, gets into the building. She climbs out the window, and he's like, he should get paid up front. And then Black Widow tries to recruit Bruce Banner as well, but also makes it clear that we do not need the Hulk. And I think during this part, no, it's later where we get the line where he put a gun in, he put a bullet in, he put a gun in his mouth, and the other guy spit out the bullet. That one. That happens later on. I thought it happened here. So we now have basically Iron Man and Hulk recruited. We have Nick Fury, who goes to Captain America, who is training, just like you saw at the end of, well, in the trailer, I guess, for Avengers, which you saw at the in the post-credits scene for Captain America, the First Avenger. Also, Fury has a bit of an argument with the council members of S.H.I.E.L.D. because they want to use Phase 2 weapons, and it's like, dude, we are at the finale of Phase 1. We're not yet in Phase 2. But the thing is that Fury's like, no, we should use the Avengers because Phase 2 stuff isn't ready yet. The Avengers could be ready. However, they are not necessarily a fan of that one. Also, a council member of you may recognize as Gideon from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 3. I think that's actually his name. So that was nice. I saw him and I was immediately like, oh, hey, look. It's the guy. So we have Captain America in a jet with Coulson, and Coulson starts to fanboy all over Captain America, which is... Okay, alright, Coulson, you went a bit too far with certain lines, but overall, I liked it. However, why did you have to say, I watched you sleep? That is not like... I don't know if that ever works. Let's be honest. I don't know if that ever works. I don't think anyone likes that when you say that to them at all. So meanwhile, we have Loki as well. He's in the movie too, in case you forgot. And he's building something. Now, what we learn later on is that he's building basically a way to keep a portal open in the sky. So, there you go. But Loki is talking to the other, and the other is like, he gave you power. Do not disrespect him. And Loki's like, hey, hopefully your army is good enough, right? I mean, and then the other's like, it's Earth. It ain't, it's like at the bottom of the barrel of like threats in the universe. Which technically means this guy has not watched Phase 1 of the MCU yet, because he would have known that there was some threat down on Earth. So we get to the helicarrier, and then Captain America and Hulk meet. Well, Bruce Banner. We don't need to see the Hulk yet. Not until it's absolutely necessary. So we have them meet, and Captain America basically doesn't really care about the Hulk. Also, I like how he actually references the whole Hulk project being a spin-off off of his Super Soldier project. I like that reference. So then Black Widow is like, let's go inside. It'll probably be easier to breathe. And they're like, oh, you're gonna go underwater with this thing. And Hulk is like, ooh, not such a good idea. And then they look to the side and it's like up, and it's like, oh, that's much worse. I like Bruce Banner. He's like, oh, that's much worse. So now then, back to Loki. Loki needs iridium. So the only place to get that is in Germany. So Loki heads over to Germany with Hawkeye, and basically he asks what Hawkeye needs. Hawkeye is like, I need a distraction and an eyeball, so let's get that. So we have a party in Germany. Loki infiltrates the party, which, how did he get in? Nobody knows. He's a god of mischief. That's how he got in. And he just punches someone, then grabs a dude, puts him down, and just like puts a thing in his eye. And it's like, nobody's helping him. It's one guy. Really? No, okay. Well, these rich people probably never do anything themselves anyway, so I guess that explains why they're not helping. So Hawkeye takes everyone out stealthily, and then uses the eye thing, gets the iridium, and now they have what they need. Then Loki goes outside, and he's like, everybody kneel. And then Grandpa stands up and is like, no. And Loki's like, all right, look to your elders, people. Let's see what happens when you defy me. And then he shoots. However, Captain America at this point arrives because the helicarrier, they got a hit on Loki. So they go over there, and Cap stops it, and then has a little bit of a fight with Loki, but it doesn't necessarily go in his favor. However, at that point, Black Widow gets... someone calls Black Widow, and then we get some fantastic rock music on the background. And we have Iron Man, of course, and he arrives. And now we have Captain Iron Man meeting. Fantastic. Can't wait for that Civil War. And they fight against Loki a bit. They capture him, which was Loki's plan. I will say that up front right now. So they fly him back. However, they're like, something is off. This felt a little bit too easy. Taking Loki was a little bit too easy. So we have a bit of thunder in the air. And then they're like, hey, Loki, you're scared of thunder? He's like, I'm not really fond of what follows. And then we have Thor landing on top of the jet. And then he goes inside and takes Loki. And then Captain America's like, Stark, we need a plan. I have a plan. Attack. Blah. Flies after him. And then we have Thor basically trying to be like, brother, come home. Please. Alright. We thought you were dead. We mourned. Father mourned. Everyone was sad about the fact that you were dead. Alright, come home. Stop this foolishness. You are not a king. Alright, just stop and come back home. And Loki's like, no. So then Thor gets attacked by Iron Man and they have a Shakespeare in the park. Yes, Iron Man puts it. And then we have a Thor versus Iron Man battle. However, it gets eventually interrupted by Captain America, who Thor then turns his anger towards. So he starts to attack Captain America, but Captain America blocks with a shield and we get a big shockwave. So now we have Loki captured and Thor is part of the team. We now have all of the Avengers on the helicarrier except for Hawkeye. So now everyone is trying to figure out what Loki wants. And they basically kind of get to the idea that it could be, you know, like the fact that he needs that Loki needs a power source in order to be able to use the Tesseract in order to open up a portal. But while Banner and Stark, I guess as well, are trying to find the Tesseract, they also start to get a wee bit suspicious of Nick Fury because he is the spy. Also, before that, I lied. We got the fact that it's like, oh, I understood that reference. And also the fact that Iron Man is too advanced. He's like from the future in that sense. So he just starts yelling at things and nothing pops up because he has to turn buttons and it's like, it sounds exhausting. Also, that guy is playing video games. But while that is happening, Tony tries to provoke the Hulk because of course he does. I like in their meeting, it's like, he's like, I love your work, and also I'm a big fan of the way you turn into an enormous green rage monster. So we have Black Widow going to talk to Loki while the main cast is kind of starting to get a bit suspicious of Fury. But when Tony was using Fury stuff, he also planted a thing on it, so now he's decoding all of the shield files. And when Cap learns that, Cap is not all that happy about it. However, then Banner's like, tell me you're not suspicious. So Cap is like, okay, I'm a bit suspicious. So he goes and learns that phase 2 equals weapons. So we have Black Widow interrogating Loki, and Loki is basically like, look, alright. Also, beforehand, stop talking about red ledgers, okay? This is disgusting. We don't need to talk about that stuff. It is a natural thing that a woman does. However, that doesn't mean it's any less disgusting, alright? It's a natural thing, just like how snot gets collected in your nose. It's a natural thing. However, doesn't mean it ain't disgusting, okay? So don't do that. But she basically eventually figures out that what Loki is truly after on the helicarrier and why he was so easy to capture was because of the Hulk. And I guess also to kind of see the competition. So everyone starts to argue about the phase 2 stuff because they all learn it's weapons now. It's like, oh, that ain't good. And, you know, everyone starts to argue with everyone. It turns into an arguing fest until we have Banner with the thing, with this holding the scepter. However, at the same time, we have Hawkeye flying to, well, not flying, but like he's in a jet. So with a couple of like other mind control people flying to the helicarrier, and Hawkeye shoots an arrow and blows up one of the things keeping it up, which the name I do not know has escaped me. So because of that, things start to go wrong. Black Widow and Hulk and the Banner are together. We have Captain America and Iron Man who team up in order to get I think it's the turbine. I'm gonna call it a turbine to get the turbine working again. And yeah, that's basically it. However, but Black Widow and Hulk, they fell through the floor, which means that the Hulk is coming out. And Black Widow ain't too happy about that one. So we basically get a little bit of a horror scene, and I really like this scene. I gotta be honest here. I always like Hulk scenes, especially except for like, you know, Smart Hulk as he's called. So Hulk starts to attack everyone, but then we have Thor who fights against the Hulk and tries to stop him, and that doesn't really work until we get a distraction from a jet. So Hulk jumps out and attacks the jet. However, because the jet is falling down, because he destroys the jet, he also falls down. So Hulk's gone. Bye. We have also after that Thor going over to check on Loki, but Loki has escaped from his prison and used an illusion in order to get Thor into the prison. So that's fun. So he gets ejected from the thing, and Coulson dies as well at this point. right before Thor gets shot out, Coulson is like, comes out with this big gun, and is like, look, I don't even know what this thing does, and he wants to shoot Loki, but then gets stabbed from behind because there's another illusion, and sadly enough, Coulson dies. Now, if Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. does turn out to be canon, he is not dead. But for now, this is a very sad moment because Coulson is absolutely truly dead. Unless, of course, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. later on gets confirmed to be canon, either with Doomsday or Secret Wars or whatever. But technically in Secret Wars, they can also put Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in an alternate timeline, so that could work too. Because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. doesn't really work with the timeline from Season 5 onwards. Because Season 5 has the whole storyline about the Earth being shattered, but that should have happened like before Thanos got the stone, so that doesn't really add up. And then also Seasons 5 and 6 don't reference at all the fact that half the universe was popped out of existence. So that it's like seasons 1 through 4 can be connected to the MCU. However, season 5 and 6 and 7, not really. However, if everything may have looked very bad, but on a positive note, we got Hawkeye back because Black Widow has a battle with Hawkeye, and she hits him, and that kind of snaps him out of mind control. So we lost Hulk, we lost Thor, but we have Hawkeye back. That's, you know, basically trading your 2-star players for me. You don't want that, alright? If I run, I'll break my legs. That is not what you trade your star players for, okay? Hawkeye is useful, but he ain't Thor or Hulk. So now Fury uses Coulson's death because he just throws a couple of cards, like he didn't get you to sign these cards, and that's like Coulson is now dead. All right, we need to stop Loki. And then later on, Maria Hill's like, those were not in Coulson's pocket, they were in his locker. It's like they needed the motivation. But now we also, when I completely forgot to talk about the turbine stuff. Let's go back a little bit to the turbine stuff before we head to the next part. So the turbine stuff, we have Captain America and Iron Man go over there in order to stop it. Iron Man's like, alright, I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna spin it, and then you hit the lever in order to get me out. So Iron Man does that. Captain America's next to the lever. However, then Loki's guys show up, and Captain America starts fighting them because otherwise he'll get killed. So he fights them. However, he almost falls out of the place, but he hangs on by a, I don't know, a cable, I guess. A cable. Sure. He hangs on by a cable, pulls himself back in, hits the lever. Little bit too late, though, because Iron Man is already, like, getting hit by the turbine. But he escapes, and then he takes out the other guy. So Iron Man starts to work on his armor again. Now we're caught up, kind of. So after the speech from Fury, he starts working on the armor. They also figure out that what Loki really wants is Stark Tower. Because he's like, Loki is like a diva, okay? He needs everything to be broadcasted. So, he would likely want a building with his name on that, mother! So he fixes up his armor, fixes it up enough to be able to make the flight back home. And we have Hawkeye, who now fully is out of the mind control and ready to join the team. So Cap, Black Widow, and Hawkeye get a jet. He gets in, and it's like, the S.H.I.E.L.D. agent is like, you're not authorized! He's just like, son, don't. Sounding like a very old man. So they take the jet and fly after Iron Man. And yeah, so Tony goes back home. He tries to stop the machine. Doesn't really work. So he goes down to talk to Loki to kind of distract him a little bit. So he's like, alright, I'm here to threaten you. Would you like a drink? But I'm here to threaten you. It's like, that doesn't really work on me. So he's like, alright, you pissed off all of us. And we're now gonna fight you. We're called the Avengers. That's kind of our club name. And then eventually Loki wants to Loki's like, how can they fight me when they're so busy fighting you? Ting, ting. Because the thing that Iron Man has on his chest. Now, to anyone wondering why he doesn't use it on a different part of the body, in my headcanon, unless it is officially confirmed that this is the case, it can only work when it's used on the chest. And other parts don't work. So instead, Loki throws him out. And then Iron Man's like, deploy, 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 deploy. And we have the Mark 7 suit that deploys, it splits up, and attaches to Iron Man right on time. And then the portal opens up, and we have the Chitauri who are coming in. Hot! We also have Thor who starts to fight with Loki. I think he tries to reason with him again. Can't quite remember that one. Look, this is a big and very amazing movie. And I can't remember everything. But he fights with Loki in order to stop him, but that doesn't work. So now we have the invasion, boys. We are here. The invasion. The Chitauri have arrived. So now we have the Avengers, without the Hulk, obviously, fighting in order to stop the Chitauri and also to stop Loki. And man, this is awesome. But the beginning part of the fight, We have like a couple of foot soldiers that come in first, and we take them out, and then this big whale shows up. So Iron Man is like, I'm bringing the party to you guys. So he goes around, and also he's like, tell me when Banner shows up. So eventually Banner shows up, and Iron Man brings the party, and Black Widow's like, I don't understand how that's a party. So he brings the big whale thingy, and then Bruce is like, that's my secret cap, I'm always angry. Turns to the Hulk and punches the thing. And now we have the big final fight, where we start off with Hawkeye and Black Widow kind of helping out civilians while also remembering Budapest. Kind of not really the time, boys, but still. And also taking out Chitauri. We have like Iron Man flying around taking out Chitauri, Captain America punching and shielding Chitauri, and we have Hulk smashing and Thor thundering Chitauri. And now we have just a big battle. And then eventually Captain America sees that the cops are in danger, so he goes down there and he tells the cops like, hey, you guys, help them. It's like, who are you to command us? Then two Chitauri show up, Captain America takes them out, and everyone's like, alright, cool. By the way, that cop is a descendant of Sousa. I see that. In my mind, that is a descendant of Sousa. And if he has a different last name, it doesn't matter, because Sousa could have had a daughter who then married someone, took his name, and then had a child, and that child has now that last name, in case the last name is different. So there you go, because his last name is Officer Sanders or something like that. Cut out that naming part. Officer Saunders, but I don't know if Saunders is his last name or his first name. So if that is his last name, then he probably had a daughter who married someone else and then had a son who is named Saunders. That is my headcanon, and I will not let you have any of this, okay? That is my headcanon. And it also has another connection to Agent Carter, so stay silent. And I love that one shot where the camera pans. Also, I think I said certain things out of order. If I'm looking right now at my notes here, I've said certain things out of order. But then we have eventually the Avengers assemble, and now we have the official final fight. And what I liked, the big points that I liked in this final fight were like Iron Man shooting his energy off of Cap's shield and taking out a couple of guys. Obviously, Hulk punching Thor. And then eventually, towards the end, we have Hulk who smashes Loki up. Look, there's so much awesomeness that happens in here. We got Hulk running through a building. Hawkeye is up on a roof just shooting people. The fact that he hasn't been shot off that roof is amazing to me. But eventually, we have the Hulk who just smashes up Loki. Puny god. However, the Avengers eventually, after that, also start to look a bit more dire. So, what do? Also, I like the part where Black Widow is like, alright, I need to get up on top of Stark Tower in order to kind of stop this. And Cap gives her a boost, and she gets on top of one of the tower things and flies it up there. Hawkeye then takes out Loki, which afterwards Hulk then smashes him up. And she gets up there, and then also because of certain things that have happened, because of the fact that when Iron Man shot the bubble, Eric Selvig got hit as well by the blast and hit something, which, you know, kind of put him out of mind control mode. However, we have the Avengers who kind of get pushed back, so the council orders the fact that we now need to use a nuke to nuke New York. All of the citizens in it. So, we have two jets that take off. One of them is actually makes it. However, do both of those carry nukes? And also, shooting a jet that has a nuke on it with a rocket launcher does not seem like the good idea, because you would blow yourself up, right? Or is it just me? Usually with weapons like that, you need to be extremely careful. And he just shoots a missile at it. It's like, what are you doing with a rocket launcher, that first jet? But the second jet takes off and he shoots it. And then Nick Fury tells Stark about that. So Stark's like, alright, on it. Put everything into the thrusters. So he pushes the Chitauri away, flies off, and then goes after the nuke. And then he has an idea, so he grabs it and flies off. However, Black Widow at this point has the scepter on top of the roof. Don't ask me how she got it. They don't explain that, but she has the scepter. My guess is that someone probably, maybe like Hulk, threw it up there. Because Hulk was there. Hulk smashed up Loki and then walked off. So maybe Black Widow was like, Hulk, throw me the scepter. And he's like, Whya! That's my headcanon for how that happened. But she's right, I could close the portal and end this. And then everyone's like, yay! And Tony's like, no, wait, don't do that yet. And then he flies the nuke up into the portal. However, I feel like he could have let go of the nuke earlier, but maybe not. So he holds on to the nuke. Maybe the nuke was auto-targeting New York, so if Tony let go, it would have... No, it didn't, because of eventually he also starts to... Because when he actually lets go, it still flies towards the ship. It doesn't make a U-turn, so... I don't know. Anyway, he sees the Chitauri and all the amazing stuff that will give him PTSD in the next movie. So he falls back to Earth, and then Black Widow closed the portal when Iron Man went through. So Iron Man falls through the portal right before it closes, and the nuke explodes. He falls down, and everyone's like, yay! Even like, you son of a gun. He did it. However, he ain't stopping. The dude keeps falling. So Thor is ready to get up there. And then Hulk catches Iron Man. And the day is saved, boys. Everyone high-five each other. We're done. However, we have one more little loose end. So they go back to Stark Tower. And they basically confront Loki and just stand there. And then Loki's like, I will have that ring now. And that's it. We did it. We saved the day. Everyone is like, yay. Stanley is like, superheroes in New York. That would be ridiculous. It's like, Stanley. And the day is saved. Yay, we are now done. And my goodness, what a movie this has been. This is absolutely my favorite movie of Phase 1. And technically, it's also a marketing ploy. And I will say this is absolutely what Phases 4 and 5 have been missing of the MCU. Because the reason that the MCU works so well as it does is the fact that these Avengers movies are, well, team-up movies, but they're also marketing movies. Because you see Ant-Man in Captain America Civil War, which is not an Avengers movie, but get with the program. You see that stuff, so you then go and watch Ant-Man as well. It's like a promotion for Ant-Man. You see the Guardians in Infinity War and Endgame, so you watch that. You don't need to watch anything in Phase 4 outside of stuff that you like, because we don't have an Avengers movie. It is literally missing that marketing strategy. Just wanted to point that out. But I love this movie to death. It is my second favorite Avengers movie. Absolutely. Because I have issues with 2 of them. And we'll get there when we get there. But I don't think that there's a single bad Avengers movie. They're all great. It's just 2 of them are fantastic. And technically there are 2 above this one if you want to include Civil War. But Civil War is counted as Avengers 2.5 and Captain America 3. So it's kind of weird. Kind of in that weird zone where it's like, it's not officially an Avengers movie, but shall we count it in the Avengers ranking? Or shall we count it with Captain America ranking? Or shall we count it with both? But now that the day is saved, the Avengers basically split up until further notice, called Age of Ultron. And the Council of S.H.I.E.L.D. is not very happy about this. They're like, what do you mean? You just let them loose on the world. That is not a good idea. And he's like, yeah, but they deserved a bit of a vacation, right? Look at what they just did. All right? They deserve something. And also Fury's basically like, this was a power play to the universe. By the way, a cat still scratch your eye out. He's like, it's a power play to the universe. And that's it. And then Loki and Thor return home, with Loki being entirely like, you know, his mouth, he's got a mouthpiece on, he's cuffed. Also, I would like to say that after a YouTube video, watching a YouTube video, after with all the stuff he did in this movie, right, after watching a YouTube video, he becomes a really good person. So all Thor needed to do was show him a YouTube video and he would have been a good person. Yeah. Look, the Loki Disney Plus show might be regarded as the best Disney Plus show that they have. But let's be honest here, there's not competition. And also, yeah, I don't like that part. But we'll get there when we get there, which is gonna be, I don't know, at the end of this year or 2025. I don't know yet how this whole thing goes. Anyway, then we get to the post-credit scenes. So starting off with the mid-credit scene where we have Thanos, who... we have a little bit of a Thanos tease. However, something that I actually noticed now. I only noticed this after watching, after Deadpool came out, because I learned a little bit more about Deadpool, and Thanos popped up as well. However, the other tells Thanos that if challenging the Avengers is to court death. And the way that that could be phrased could be the fact that Thanos will die if he does that, or... courting someone could also mean, mainly females, in the same... You court a woman for marriage. And in the comic books, Thanos is absolutely in love with death. So that could also have meant what they meant with like the fact that Thanos can court death. I just thought that was a funny thing. And then at the end with post-credits scene, we have Swarma. The guys eat Swarma. And I like how Chris Evans is like having his fist covering his like face, because he actually at this point has a beard for another movie, because this was part of the reshoot. And it's just, it works because at the end of the movie, Iron Man's like, I heard of this thing called Swarma. I never tried it, but I want to try it. So now they're eating Swarma. And that was the Avengers. And like I said, this movie is not perfect, but it is so good. You know, like I said, my main issue is the fact that Hawkeye doesn't really get to do much in this movie, but he gets more to do in the next one. Well, that is my main issue. And there are other weird things in this movie, but outside of that, you know, like what movie doesn't have some weird things? Sometimes you just need a little bit of weird things in order to have a fun movie. But I absolutely love this movie. So, comment down below. Tell me what you guys think about the 2012 Avengers. I think it has totally held up with the test of time. But do you guys think that as well? comment it down below and let me know. And thank you all so very much for watching. And I hope you guys have enjoyed. And if you did, please like button, subscribe if you're new, if not done so already. Turn on notifications, and don't forget to check out my Let's Play channel, link in the description and at the end of the video. And like I said before, I will see you guys next time when we get to start. And when I say before, I meant in the Avengers movie review. But we get to start phase 2 with Iron Man 3. So I'll see you guys for that stuff. Bye!